Here's how you know that Republicans are in a complete panic over the budget bill that is right now being considered in the Senate. A budget bill that will gut health care for 13.7 million Americans and food assistance to the tune of $300 billion. Now, initially, Senator Josh Hawley came out and said this.
We're not talking here about just work requirements. The House goes much further than that. This is real Medicaid benefit cuts. I can't support that. No Republican should support that. We're the party of the working class, Manu. We need to act like it.
Some pretty strong words there about a bill that has since passed the House since he made that comment on May 14th, with no other changes since Hawley criticized it. And yet now, here's evidence of the new talking point being trotted out on the right. Hawley tweeted, quote, "Just had a great talk with President Trump about the big, beautiful bill. He said again, no Medicaid benefit cuts." So let me get this straight. Hawley did an entire media tour skewering the bill because of its cuts to Medicaid, and he branded himself some champion for healthcare, and then the bill passes, again, with no changes between that media tour and now, and suddenly all it took was for Donald Trump to fart out some half-baked assurance that Medicaid wouldn't be cut for Hawley to completely fall in line. In other words, you've got Trump, who famously couldn't tell the truth if his life depended on it, and then you've got the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, whose only job is to score these bills that's saying that 13.7 million people will lose health care, including Medicaid benefits, and Hawley opts to side with Trump? But hey, working class champion, am I right? Here's what actually happened. Hawley wants his cake and to eat it too. He wants to be able to frame himself as some populist champion, do the cable rounds, build his brand as a protector of Medicaid, write a little New York Times op-ed demanding no cuts to Medicaid, but then also wants to be a good little foot soldier for Daddy Trump. And Trump wants his big, beautiful bill, which means he expects his minions, of which Josh Hawley is a part, to fall in line and vote for it. And so Hawley needed a way to square that circle, and so what he landed on was the very believable, well, Trump promised me that it won't cut Medicaid despite every independent scorekeeper assuring us that it would do so, and so I'm going to blindly side with Trump and vote for the bill that does the exact thing that I just spent weeks pretending that I'm against. To say that this guy is acting in bad faith would be the understatement of the century. But, importantly, he knows he can probably get away with it because of how the Republicans structured this bill and its cuts to Medicaid, as explained by Elizabeth Warren in our latest interview here.
You remember the Roadrunner cartoons? Remember the bomb?
Yeah.
That you would buy, right, from Acme?
Yep.
Right? That what they want to do is they want to do a bomb with a really long fuse. And they want to say, we're going to cut healthcare for millions of Americans, and we're going to cut food help for millions of Americans. But we know that that is going to be terrible for millions of families, and it's going to be terrible for the economy. So we're going to pass the law now, light the fuse, and it's not going to explode mostly until right after the election.
Yeah.
That way, we can do the deny reality. We can all go out, and all of those Republicans can campaign saying, nope, nobody got hurt here. Did anybody get hurt here? Nobody's been hurt. Stop being so hysterical about this and try to bend reality. But understand about these cuts. They're going to hit literally tens of millions of families. They're going to hit new babies, half of all new babies, who are going to lose access to healthcare, new mamas, people with disabilities, little babies, children with disabilities.
In other words, they know full well that this absolutely is going to gut Medicaid from millions upon millions upon millions of Americans, but they have purposefully designed this bill so that it won't happen until just after midterms, until they're no longer accountable to voters. So they're suspending the pain just long enough that they won't face consequences for their own actions. That's how stupid they think you are. And if you're wondering why the sudden change of heart from Hawley, not exactly rocket science. According to one Punchbowl News reporter, Trump spoke with Hawley today, wherein he reportedly told Hawley that politicians who cut Medicaid are stupid and lose elections. So rather than, not cut Medicaid, they're just delaying those cuts until after voters have already cast their ballots. They don't give a shit what happens to the voters, they just care that they don't have to face any consequences for it. And the fact that Trump has issued his marching orders isn't just evidence with Hawley. Here's Russ Vought, Project 2025 author and Trump's OMB director, parroting this same bullshit line.
The other reason why we're seeing some pushback is because of the Medicaid cuts that were passed by the by the House and that are going to go into the Senate. There was a town hall, which I'm sure you saw. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst was asked, it was pretty raucous, about the Medicaid cuts. And she responded by saying, people were saying that people are going to die. And she said, we're all going to die. But the question that she was getting from constituents were concerns about Medicaid, food stamps, and other government support programs leading to people dying and premature deaths. What do you say to those concerns?
I think they're totally ridiculous. This is AstroTurf. This bill will preserve and protect the programs, the social safety net, but it will make it much more common sense. Look, 1 out of every $5 or $6 in Medicaid is improper. We have illegal immigrants on the program. We have able-bodied working adults that don't have a work requirement that they would have in TANF or even SNAP. And those are something that's very important to institute. That's what this bill does. No one will lose coverage as a result of this bill.
That's not what Josh Hawley, who is not exactly a liberal Democrat, said. He said it's wrong to cut health care for the working poor, and that's what we're talking about here with Medicaid.
Well, we continue to work with people in the Senate as to working them through with the specifics of the bill, what it does and what it doesn't do. We'll continue to do that, and I think at the end of the day, the Senate will have a resounding vote in favor of a substantially similar bill.
See? Why bother protecting Medicaid when you can just lie and say that you're protecting Medicaid with zero intention of actually doing it? This is the strategy now. Just lie through your teeth and hope your supporters are too gullible, too stupid to know the difference. The reality is that this is the cornerstone of the MAGA agenda. Trump has promised his supporters that he would build the wall along the entire southern border. The guy built 52 miles of wall. That's it. But why bother doing the hard work when you can just lie? Trump promised his supporters that he presided over a booming economy his first term. Another lie. He presided over an economic contraction, which he continues to do right now. Trump promised a manufacturing boom both terms, and both terms he's failed to deliver. His first term saw a manufacturing loss of 178,000 jobs, and his second term is witnessing even more manufacturing loss, as just today it was announced that we've just endured 2 straight months of manufacturing decline despite Trump's grandiose promises of a new golden age. Let's be clear. The guy just says words. You could fly his new Qatari 747 in the space between what Trump says and the actual reality. So these Republican mouthpieces will pretend that up is down and black is white because they have realized that spewing straight lies to their audience is a hell of a lot more convenient than actually being honest and doing the work. Our job, then, is to make sure that everyone knows exactly what it is they're doing and to repeat the truth every single day between now and November 2026 so that Americans can see exactly the ways that Trump and his Republican Party are screwing them over. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.